Hey friend, I'm Brandon Gustafson. I help new and aspiring real estate investors launch their assisted living business. In today's video, we're going to get into the topic of how to deal with an HOA for your residential assisted living business. Welcome to Assisted Living Investing. Hey friend, welcome again back to the channel. Excited to have you here. Before we get started, I want to remind you to get over to the website, assistedlivinginvesting.net. You can get access to our free underwriting calculator, which is going to help you through the process of underwriting to help you start your assisted living business. Now let's get into the topic for today's video. How to deal with an HOA when you're starting your assisted living business. It's a question a lot of people have, and it's valid because oftentimes we live in a world where there are so many HOAs, so many people that are creating this and houses that are in these types of neighborhoods and things like that. So you want to deal with it. But let's start off with the basics. What first off is an HOA. An HOA is a homeowners association. So oftentimes this is put in place by new builders actually, and they'll put it together, but it could be not in a new build area. It is a group of homeowners and they come together and they create bylaws and they say, well, we want this thing here and this there and that, and then they pay money into it and somebody comes in and manages stuff for them and enforces some of those laws and rules and bylaws and helps plan things. You'll see this a lot in townhome complexes or apartment complexes where they need to redo the roofs or take care of a main water line or those types of things. So there's definitely a purpose to an HOA. But then the question becomes, can you actually put a care home or a residential assisted living business inside of a neighborhood that has an HOA? I see this question all the time because people don't want to do it there. They get a little bit scared. They don't want to move forward if they can't do it, if they're going to have issues with starting that business in this area because of an HOA. The answer to that question is a resounding yes, you absolutely can. It is actually protected by the Fair Housing Act, which is some law that came into place several years ago. I don't know all the specifics with it, but in the Fair Housing Act, it basically says you cannot discriminate against anybody for protected characteristics. And some of those things that are protected are people with disabilities, whether mental or physical, and the elderly. So there is nothing in there that says, you might get an HOA that says, no, you can't do this. And if you take it up high enough with a good attorney, you would be able to overturn that because you are able to do this in HOAs because it is protected under the Fair Housing Act. You are providing a service and a home to these people and they need housing. And so they're able to do that. Now, that doesn't mean that an HOA can't still make your life a little bit difficult. They could stop you from doing something like putting a sign up in your yard that advertises that it's a business. They might have some rules around parking that you have to adhere to, that you can't have a bunch of cars there. So you need to be careful with that, parking on the street, those types of things. So there are still rules and things that you have to follow when you are in an HOA. But the actual starting of a business, the HOA will not be able to do it. If the house is zoned properly and it allows you to do it, then you are able to do that because it is protected under the Fair Housing Act. And zoning really is going to be your bigger thing to worry about here. And I've done a video on this. We'll try to link it up above on zoning. But zoning is the thing that could really put a stop in your ability to move forward with starting that assisted living business, because if zoning says it is not zoned for that, you cannot run that type of a business out of the home, then you can't unless you get it rezoned. And I went really deep into that process there in that video. So make sure you go and catch that because it's going to teach you a lot about it. So really, in reality, HOAs, there's some good things and some bad things. They create these bylaws. They help people understand what they can and can't do inside of a home. They will not be able to tell you, no, you can't put that assisted living, that care home in this area. They're not able to do that. You're protected under the Fair Housing Act. So don't worry about an HOA. That's going to be fine. Your bigger worry needs to come in with city zoning and planning, making sure that you are zoned correctly Make sure you're talking with a fire marshal. Make sure that everything is inspected correctly and you're able to work with the correct amount of residents and things like that in the home for what you want to be licensed for. That's where you're going to run into issues. HOAs, you can deal with them all day long. And if you have an HOA that tells you otherwise, then there is case law against that. And find yourself a good attorney and overturn it and start operating the business, and you'll be good to go. So that's a good way to do it. I personally, not a legal thing. So if you need legal advice, go talk to an attorney. I am not an attorney. I don't know law other than like things that I find on the internet, like this one with the Fair Housing Act. So if you need a specific legal advice, please go and talk to a professional to get some guidance on that. But you should not be having issues with an HOA when you're starting that assisted living business. Does residential assisted living sound interesting to you, but you don't know how to get started? At assistedlivinginvesting.net, we are here to help new and aspiring real estate investors launch their assisted living business. I want to remind you to subscribe, like the video, and ring the bell as well so you get notified. We go out and put 2 pieces of content here on the internet on a weekly basis. Join the Facebook group. It's going to help you out and give you even more content there. And I do special promotions and things on the Facebook group, so make sure you're joining that. YouTube, Facebook, those are the 2 spots where we're at with assisted living investing, in addition to a few other places, but those are the main spots. Make sure you are joining those and subscribing and doing all those things so you get notified when we put this valuable content out here to help you out. If you have questions, make sure you drop them down below, because I'd love to hear from you about what your questions about HOAs and how that might impact your ability to start a business. And remind you as well, get over to the website, assistedlivinginvesting.net. I've got a bunch of resources. Get the free underwriting calculator. It's a great option for you. And I also have our business planning guide and the accelerator course there to help you along your journey. Really, the accelerator is a 12-week path to ownership. It's going to help you get to that point where you are starting that business. So make sure you jump over there and get access to that if it fits where you're at in your journey. I want to thank you again for watching and remind you that it doesn't take a lot, just a little bit. Just keep going step by step by step. If you keep making progress and you're consistent and persistent, I promise you, you're going to be successful. Thanks for watching and have a great day.